So hello and welcome back to 8 English Tutorials, and in this particular video we are going to go through the poem line by line. I will be explaining you this poem on Killing a Tree by Give Patel. Part 1 has already been released, in which I told you the themes, the central idea, the message, all those things have already been dealt with. And now this is part 2 where I'll be explaining you this entire poem. And generally it's our pattern that every poem is explained in 3 parts. You'll get 3 videos for each poem. Part 1 will have the central idea, the themes and everything, the introduction. Part 2 will be the line by line explanation, and part 3 will be the figure of speeches. Probably in this poem I'll teach you the figure of speeches in this video only because there are not many figure of speeches in this poem, and even the explanation is not very difficult in this poem. So I'll try to complete it here. Though if the video will be too long, I'll extend it to the part 3 only. But till now I'm thinking to continue with the figure of speeches in this part only. So without wasting any time, let's get on to the poem. All these things I've already told you, themes and everything. Now we come to the poem. And here the poet tells that killing a tree, it's not as simple as it seems. Right? You just go, have a cut on the tree, and the tree is died. No, it will grow up again. So you'll again cut it. It will again grow up. You will again cut it. It will again grow up. You have to take it out from its root if you don't want it to grow up again. So all these things you will find in the poem, and he goes on expressing that it is not as easy and not effortless to kill a tree. It takes much time and it takes much efforts to kill a tree, to cut a tree. So we go on reading the first stanza. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of the knife. Jab is a rough movement. So what you think, what you people think, that we just go, we'll have a cut on the tree, and the tree is died, and the game is over. But no, it is not as simple as it seems. It takes much more time than it is, you are expecting that we'll go on, we'll have a cut, and the game is over, the tree is ended. No, not a simple jab. Just one movement, just one rough movement will not do it alone. Will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth. Slowly consuming the earth, that it has taken the nutrients from the soil, from our earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust. Crust, we all know that it's the inner part of the land, the soil part. So slowly consuming the earth, feeding upon its crust is, the same. It has taken its nutrients from the earth, from the ground, and it has fed upon that earth and those nutrients taken from the soil, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water. So it has also absorbed sunlight, air, and water, all those things. We all know. We know biology a lot. We are in class 9th and we know. And out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. And out of that leprous hide, I'll tell you about leprous. Hide is bark, the bark of the tree, and out of that bark, that leprous bark of the tree, the the leaves starts sprouting, the leaves coming out, the leaves they come out, small leaves, they start germinating from there. So sprouting means germinating, hide means bark. For leprous, just if you want to make a note, just make a note of that. So leprosy, that is leprosy, is the chronic disease mainly causing skin lesions and nerve damage. So, as if it develops a sort of uneven cracks on the skin. So, that uneven cracks have been compared to the texture and to the color of that bark, the tree's bark. As you can see in the photo also, there are there are cuts and uneven part. So that is leprous hide. We move on to the next second stanza. So hack and chop. That is, hack and chop are the poetic words, poetic terms used to show the sounds of cutting. So hack and chop, that is cutting and twisting, turning the branches. But this will not. But this alone won't do it. So only these things will not do it. More efforts are required to kill a tree. Correct? Not so much pain will do it. It will not have so much pain when with just a jab, with just a rough movement. No, the bleeding bark will heal. So when you cut it, the bleeding bark will heal. The crow will grow again. The tree will grow again. Bleeding bark. Now, to some trees, when you have a cut on them, the cell sap or the plant sap, whatever it's called. So, the plant sap basically somewhere in some trees it is white in color, in some trees it is, transparent fluid. So, that is plant sap, I guess. So it emerges out. So when we cut a tree, that plant sap emerges out. So in literature here, the speaker is referring to that plant sap coming out of the bark as the bleeding bark, as if the plant is bleeding. But this jab, if you just make a jab, this bleeding and all these will heal again, and the plant will again grow up to to its own extent, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Twigs are again a sort of, creepers, branches, and all. So you cut the tree will again grow up, and from close to the ground, again green twigs will be arising. Miniature boughs, miniature is again small twigs, branches, and all, creepers, and boughs is emerges out, which if unchecked will expand again and which if unchecked will expand again to former sizes, old big size when you cutted the tree, so it will again grow up to that extent only. So if the conclusion till here that we can get is, you think that we go on, we'll cut the tree and the game is over. Okay, now we are getting rid of this tree. This tree won't grow up again. No, it's not the case like that. The tree will again grow up. And in the next few stanzas, you will see that the tree will again grow up until and unless you just uproot it. Its root have to be taken out from the soil. Then you can expect that the tree will not grow up again. So we move on to the third stanza. No, the root is to be pulled out. So no, what question is he answering? That if you think that one jab will end the game of this tree, no, it's not the case. This is he answering. No. And then he goes on saying that what else has to be done to, end the game of this tree. The root is to be pulled out. So if you don't want this tree to grow up again into its former size, you have to uproot it. The root have to be taken out. From where? Out of the anchoring earth. Anchor, we all know it's a device used by ships. Whenever they have to stop, they throw the anchor into the sea. The anchor gets stuck in the land and the ship stops. So what happens? This anchor helps the tree. This anchor helps the ship to remain in that particular position and not be, floating with water and so on. So this anchor is the roots for this tree, correct? So anchor for the ship helps the ship to stand in one position. In the same way, roots of the tree helps the tree to stand in that one particular position, and you know with wind and it does not wind and so on, it does not turns and twirls. No. Why? Because of that s- you know hard solid grip of that root, solid contact which the roots had with the earth surface, the soil. So, no, this will not do it alone. You have to pull up the roots out of the anchoring earth. The earth has anchored, as if the roots have anchored the earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out. Snapped out. So snapped out is chopped. So now when the tree is uprooted, then you can cut its bark into pieces, and then you can have your process done to making it into furniture and all that, whatever happens after cutting the tree. Snapped out, that is chopped out, or pulled out entirely from the earth cave. Now earth cave, so if you uproot the tree, correct, a sort of cavity will be made, right? So that is compared to a cave, and earth cave because it's in the surface of the earth, correct? So it has to be pulled out entirely from the earth cave. Earth cave is the cavity which when formed after the tree being uprooted, and the strength of the tree exposed. And now when you have tried to pull that tree, uproot that tree, then the strength of the tree will be exposed to you. Then you will be shown the real strength of the tree, the source of what? The strength of the tree. White and wet, so the roots when uprooted they are white and wet. White, the color is being talked of. Wet, so because of the water the soil has. So wet roots, white roots, and the source of the strength being exposed to the humans when the tree is being uprooted. The most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. So this root was where it was hidden inside the earth, na? And it is the most sensitive part because from this part the tree gets water, nutrients, and whatever it has to need. Correct? For growing up. So that is why it is the most sensitive and hidden because it is inside the earth and not visible to us. And it was hidden for years inside the earth because now it's a big tree, and we know that big trees, it takes time to be a big tree from plant. So here we end up with the third stanza. We come to the fourth stanza now. Then the matter, and now finally when you have taken out, uprooted the tree, chopped it into pieces, or whatever it has taken out, it is taken out, and now the matter of scorching and choking begins, correct? So now when you have taken out the tree, uprooted the tree, now you will cut into pieces and let it dry in the sun. Scorching is killing due to hot temperature. It's the literal meaning. Scorching. Here it means that when the tree trunks are being exposed to sunlight so that it can be dried. So that is called scorching. And choking. Again, drying in the sun. In sun and air. So air also plays an important role. Browning, because now when the tree is exposed to sun, even the green parts will become brown. Why? Because the tree is dying and drying. Hardening, because again in sun the tree will harden. Twisting and withering. Withering is again drying only. And then it is done. And now, after all these things, now your process, the entire, working with the tree is over. Earlier, you thought that it's just a matter of a jab and the game is over. Of the tree and of the work we need to gather from the tree. But no, you have to know the whole story. How it has grown, receiving its nutrients from the sun, years of sunlight, years of air, water, and everything, the leprous hide. And you think that just a hack and chop and a jab will do it. No, it will not do it. If you cut the tree, the bleeding bark will heal. It will again grow up high. You cannot cut the tree entirely until and unless the root is being pulled apart from the earth. And now you can see that okay, fine, we have got rid of this tree. And after this also, if you want to, make its use, that make the tree of your use, you have to get it dried in the sun. You have to wait for it to harden and get dried up, and then again you have to make the furniture and sell it off and whatever the use you have to. So how much time it requires to kill a tree? So this is what the speaker was trying to tell you. Also, we get to know that whenever such sort of stories, such sort of poems are written, always our perspective have been taken into consideration. We get the oxygen, we get the tree, sorry, we get the fruits, we get the shade. That is why we should not cut the tree. But here, the tree's perspective has also been taken into consideration. That's a unique identity given to this poem. So now the video is of 17 minutes, so I guess we'll quickly get to the poetic devices. I have already told you in the first part that we don't have any rhyme scheme in this poem. It's written in free verse. It has no rhyme, rhythm, anything. And we get to enjambment. The second poetic devices we have is enjambment. And enjambment, we know that when one sentence continues in two or more lines, not a sim okay, without any full stop in between. So we got this in many of the instances in the poem. So not a simple jab of the knife will do it. So two lines and then a full stop occurred. It can be in one line also, but it took two lines. So enjambment. So I hope this enjambment is clear. Metaphor, indirect comparison. If you don't know the figure of speeches, you can visit my channel. I've already uploaded a channel. Already uploaded a video where I've explained you all the figure of speeches. So there I have explained all these things, metaphor, simile, all these things. Leprous hide, the uneven color of the surface of the trunk of the tree is being compared to the skin of a person suffering from leprosy. I already explained you when I was explaining the first answer. Bleeding bark, the sap of the tree coming out where it is cut is being compared to the bleeding of from the wound of a human's body. That is why bleeding bark. Alliteration, bleeding bark, so B sound, white and wet, W sound. Repetition, a word or sentence is being repeated to lay emphasis on it. Pulled out, so you can see that pulled out has been used from the word from in the poem twice. I'll just show you here. Just come to the fourth line and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely. So pulled out has been used two times. So therefore we have repetition. So thank you for joining us. Here we end up with this poem. And so because we have discussed the figure of speeches here only, so you'll not be getting any part 3 for this poem. And in the next in the next video, we'll be talking about the next poem, that is The Village Schoolmaster, and that will be covered in 3 parts. So thank you for joining us. Thank you. And if you have any doubts, you can comment me in the comment section. Don't forget to join our WhatsApp channel, the link of which is in the comment section. Thank you, and have a nice